The stock prices has gone up 2000%. Revenue has grown 4.5x and market share also has significantly increased.
50 trades per broker per second. My clearing corporation today processes around 25,000 trades per second per broker. You will go and invest because your neighbor's servant maid told that she overheard the neighbors talking, that their mothers, in-laws, somebody told that this stock gave them good returns. And even before the servant maid stops talking, you invest using your mobile. Well-informed and well-aware investor is a safer investor.
Welcome to another episode of ABC Angel Bold Conversations. I'm here at a historic building, Bombay Stock Exchange. I'm here with Sri Sundaraman Ramamurthy, who needs no introduction, but I'll still give a quick intro. He's the Managing Director and CEO of the Bombay Stock Exchange. He brings over 4 decades of experience in banking and capital markets. We are deeply honored to have him with us today at ABC Angel Bold Conversations. We have a set of questions, but we'll go along, as this conversation progresses. Now, this ring, where we are, I'm here for the first time, so it's great to have this opportunity. It has seen markets in very different form. There used to be the outcry system here, and you've seen both eras up close. You've been part of that era, and you've literally built this era. What's the story of the transition as you've experienced, and tell us some anecdotes along the journey, perhaps.
Since you wanted an anecdote and you started about open outcry, I was new to Mumbai and I had joined IDBI at the time. And our office used to be in New India Center. I used to find some of the people rushing in the afternoon post lunch somewhere. One day I asked them, where you are all running? They said, we all are going to BSE. I said, can I also come? They said, no, we don't have time. You find your way. I said, I am new to this place. How do I find a way to BSE? They said, very simple. When you come out of the office and walk straight, you come to the junction, stand there and just keep your ears alert. Go to the building where from the noise comes. That's how first I landed in BSE, where somewhere outside I was allowed to stand, not inside, of course. The ring you are not permitted. So from there, if I look at the transformation, one important point what has happened is, from a private profit making entity, today's stock exchanges are public welfare infrastructures. That is the major transformation. We used to jocularly say stock exchange is democratic. What do you mean by that? By the brokers, of the brokers and for the brokers. Today that is not the case. From a ring to your pocket by way of mobile, from huge number of trades with less liquidity, with lesser trading hours, to select number of stocks, even then it is 5,500 in BSE, with longer trading hours, with bigger and greater liquidity, democratic access to the market and the information, unlike the past where selected few were able to enter, no certainty of settlement. We used to call it as T plus any time if at all it happens. Today it is T plus 1. From a paper based, where we needed to have a committee called a good bad committee. Whether a delivery is good or bad cannot be decided by a common man. It required experts. Today there is no such thing. It is paperless. From a risky situation where anytime the settlements can be cancelled because of risk concerns, to a risk-free situation. Another is from no trust to a trust. That's how I look at the transformation.
And the speed is tremendous. The number of transactions you do is just crazy. Now, since you've joined BSE, you've of course been part of this market infrastructure for a long time. But since you've joined BSE, it has a strong turnaround. The stock prices has gone up. BSE price has gone up 2000%. Revenue has grown 4.5x. Order capacity has scaled from 10 crore to 1800 crores. And market share also has significantly increased. How did you make this happen? What did you focus on to drive this growth? I've read a few articles about it, other things, but I'd love to hear the insider story on this.
Honestly, the points that you told are outcomes, but they were not my areas of focus. When I joined BSE, I felt that a 150-year-old organization needs to be turned vibrant. When people asked me, what do you mean by vibrance? You have changed the logo, you are putting power of vibrance. What do you mean by vibrant? I said, to be vibrant, is to remain relevant. What do you mean by relevant? You serve some purpose, then only you are relevant. When do you serve a purpose? When something which people need, you are able to provide. That means nobody else is providing it. So, you identify a gap and fill it, you have reasons to exist and succeed. We found the gap. We talked to the brokers. We found that Sensex derivatives will make sense for them. We introduced Sensex derivatives. Product gap, process gap, service gap, attitude gap, ethical gap, cultural gap, technology gap, human resources gap, lots of gaps. You start filling one by one. Naturally and necessarily you start making sense and you become relevant to live and you become vibrant. Then we said we have to deepen and broaden markets and we should ensure consumer delight, customer delight. We were able to make headway. In some areas still we are trying. For example, in equity derivatives we have made some good headway. There is long way to go. More products need to come. We need to bring in different types of participants, even more than what we have brought now. We are working on all of them. In cash equities, we felt that brokers should be exchange agnostic. Today, some of the brokers, even today, in a day where even when you go to buy vegetables, you look at two places to see where it is being sold cheap. Even in such a zamana, some people do not provide both the prices. They default everything to one exchange. We wanted the market to be exchange agnostic. They should be price sensitive and there should be a smart order routing, and therefore, to achieve that there was a need for a common contract note for institutions. We achieved the regulatory part, but human mindset and brokers realizing their responsibility, I alone cannot achieve. Yeah. Brokers also have to realize that they have a responsibility to their clients to provide a level playing field. We are working, some people are easy to work, some people are difficult, but everyone has to realize ultimately they have to serve the investor interest. So, that is one area where work is on. And technology, as you rightly said, we have changed a lot. Data center we never had and we brought in data center. Index company we took over the 50% share which was with SPDJI. Fortunately, we started on a fresh note and they kindly sold the 50% share also to me, and BSE is 100% holders now. Data vending, wherever we are permitted to vend data, we are making headway. Mutual funds, the volumes have grown 8 times during the last 3 years. Overall, I feel that my stakeholders have been very kind with me, they have borne with me and they have helped BSE grow the way it has grown.
I mean, you talked about technology and how scales happen. Now, you operate at extreme scale and zero fault tolerance. If there is a challenge, it will be huge news. From a technology lens, what do you find the most complex? And one of the things at least I have found for me is that people can't focus on fundamentals sometimes because we keep running after shiny objects. There is this feature, that feature, but what matters is just fundamentals. And how do you create that culture of zero tolerance for faults?
See, fortunately, the systems, the exchanges matching engine sort of provide for a zero tolerance over a period of time, but it is only the scale that can be a very big difficulty. When you talk of scale, what do you mean exactly? One is order processing capacity, if you are talking about the matching engine, and trade processing capacity if you are talking about a clearing and other risk management engines. When you talk of order processing, there are nuances. Per stock, how many orders it can process, per second, how many orders it can process, per partition. Partition is a cluster of servers where specific products are associated, how much it can process. Then comes the network capacity, the gateway capacity, switch capacity. So, you are increasing the complexity, you see. The statement was very simple, you have to process maximum number of orders or optimum number of orders, but it takes ramifications. And there are so many parts to it. There is a software part, there is a hardware part, there is a network part, and in between there is a layer of operating system. So, you need to see where all you need to touch to achieve your goals. Then therefore, you should have a very good understanding of business and you should probably have a crystal ball to see how the orders can suddenly grow, right? For people like us, from nothing it has grown in a big way.
Crazy, yeah.
So, fortunately, because of 20 years of experience in NSE, a person like me who has no technological background or technical capabilities in that sense, because of sheer experience, was able to see where all we need to be careful about and where all we need to change. From nothing almost, from 50 trades per broker per day, per second. My clearing corporation today processes around 25,000 trades per second per broker.
Incredible.
So it's a major change from a peripheral system perspective. So fortunately, the old experience of 20 years has helped a lot.
How do you get the team to focus on it, right? Because, I mean, of course, you're directing a lot of this work, but there's a large number of people working on it. How do you create that culture of resilience, culture of doing the right thing?
See, if you're very passionate about something and you passionately start doing the job, that passion smears on everybody around you.
Just like lead by example, once you do something, it's like kids, right? You play with the keys, they play with the keys as well.
Yeah, and they start getting inspired when they start seeing success. So what earlier you thought is inachievable, and suddenly, because of some discussion, you had a eureka moment and you achieved it. That pleasure that you got, the unadulterated pleasure that you got out of it, it energizes you so much that then you don't require anybody to tell you what you should do. You start doing it. That's what is happening with the team.
They see your leadership, and then they say, look, what is the right way of doing it?
More than that, they understand that they have a lot of capabilities, which probably they were not using before, and now they are using it.
As I speak with you, there's a very interesting book that comes to my mind called Multipliers, which, again, hopefully, some of the folks listening have read it or will read it. It talks about how leaders can make other people multipliers and multiply their performance. So it seems like that's what you're doing, and it's quite brilliant. One of the hardest, once you have the technology, of course, the consumers are using it. In the end, it's going to the end consumer, and any consumer is hard to understand, but investor behavior is even harder to understand, because people have written books on it. There is behavioral economics, not just economics, happening here. What do you think are the key insights today about retail investors and how they behave and how it might evolve over the next decade, especially in India?
I'm not sure why you are singling out retail. Every investor, as you yourself rightly pointed out, they have their own different behavioral patterns and the nuances. In India, we have brushed a very large spectrum of investors with a single name called retail. I'm not sure whether that in itself is right or wrong.
Fair point.
Investment size, investment pattern difference, demographic difference, gender difference, multiple things make all of them very different. What I think is most important, which is what I want to happen, is this. If you go to buy, say, a vegetable in the market, first you look at multiple places, compare prices. Second, you make clear study of what you are buying. My favorite example is brinjal. You want to buy brinjal, 30 rupees you are spending. You lift every brinjal, rotate it 360 degrees 20 times to see any black spots are there.
You try to push it, look at it different ways, yeah.
30 to 40 rupees you exercise so much caution. How do you invest? You don't check for better prices. You go to a defaulted exchange. You don't check for the quality of stock. You buy because somebody told you. Is it not your hard-earned money? Don't you think you need to think twice or thrice and understand what you are doing, then invest? You will go and invest because your neighbor's servant maid told that she overheard the neighbors talking, that their mothers, in-laws, somebody told that this stock gave them good returns.
That is true.
And even before the servant maid stops talking, you invest using your mobile. Is it a right thing to do? So that is something which is concerning for me in that portion of the retail investors who behave this way. I don't think everybody behaves this way. Some people behave. We get very concerned about them. As BSE, we do around 20,000 seminars. We cover around 8 lakh people every year. We do a lot of regional investor seminars along with the regulators. We put a lot of videos out in the market snippets where we tell people how to safely invest. Is all these things sufficient? I don't think so. But will they give results? I am very, very confident. The people to whom we talk themselves will become carriers of this. As you said, multiplier will happen. One another major change I want to see happening in the market. Today, if you talk of investor awareness and investor protection, it appears to be the domain of the regulators and exchange. Actually, that is not good. Why do I say that? Every broker should think of putting some money and investment into investor and awareness and investor protection creation. In Hindi, we say Suchit or Jagruk Niveshak Surakshit hai. Well informed and well aware investor is a safer investor. Why the broker should be worried about a safe investor? It's very simple. If an investor makes money, it is because of his intelligence. If he loses money, who is the first culprit?
That's true.
Broker is the first culprit.
We are the interface, yeah.
Right? So he will say the broker was bad, then the exchange will be bad, then the regulator is bad, then the government is bad. Honestly, if we make investors safe by brokers also partnering in investor protection and investor awareness creation and level playing field, then they have better opportunity to get more clients, because we have not even scratched the surface. Huge possibility of growth. That is a change I would like to see.
Look, in fact, we do a bunch of things, as Angel One also, but we will do more, and I think we should do more, because I agree with you that when the ecosystem that you are operating in is healthy, you will be healthy. And if the ecosystem is not healthy, then, if the air around is not good, we are not going to be healthy.
And in such a situation, your capability to grow is faster.
Talking about investors, and you talked about the fact that there's so much headroom. There was a survey in 2025, it was a SEBI investor survey, that said about 60 to 65% of the Indians are aware of capital markets. But when you look at participation, only 9 to 10% of the households actually participate in the capital markets. What do you see as the biggest barrier here, and how could we have more people grow through the capital markets?
I will sound slightly old-fashioned in giving a reply to you on this. Till few years before, or probably 1.5 to 2 decades before, the expected rate of return from a PPF or a PF, and to some extent even from bank deposit or other fixed deposit, was 12%. Where this magic number 12 is coming from, I don't know.
I used to hear 11%, yeah, but 11-12%, that's what
When I was of your age, it was 12%, and we were getting it. Think of it, if you are getting from a FD 12%, what is banking? Acceptance of deposit for the purposes of lending. So at what rate the bank will lend? Minimum 14%.
More.
Minimum 14%. You are the bestest of the customer, if I can say bestest. You will get at least 14%. Is it conducive for growth? So slowly and steadily, the interest rate falling down. And now think of it. If there is a secular rate of 12%, and if you are ready to put in for a longer period even bigger rate of interest, why will you take any risk in the equities market? That is one reason. And second, awareness. The regulators in this country were born only in 1992. Before that, it was, as I said, by the brokers, for the brokers, and of the brokers. So investors do not stand a chance there. So why they will come to the market? So traditionally, you created a culture where people were not finding it conducive to get into the market. And how people were trading in stock markets? Tips. They will get tips and they will trade. Never it was told to them, you should analyze and trade. Today, all these are changing. Today, democratic access, we talked about it, and education, and people are becoming more and more intelligent, and on a daily basis, more and more people are looking at web, and there is a good amount of good, bad, ugly material. So long as they are able to segregate and see the good material, they are great citizens. That's how they are crossing the barrier.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, it is history and the way in which this market has evolved, and the very delayed formulation of a regulatory body for various historical reasons are responsible for this slow transition. But is it slow? It doesn't look like. I'll tell you why. The last 5 years, the number of investors have grown 5 times, from a 5 crore to 25 crores. Look at the growth in AUM. It's a very big number today. Look at the growth in the number of SIPs. Look at the growth in the number of mutual funds.
Wow.
So things are changing, and changing for the good. I therefore feel it is just a starting point, more to come.
Coming to the hottest topic that is around everywhere today, you talked about intelligence, you talked about providing knowledge. What we are seeing is, at least the way I see of it, sir, is that, back in the day when wheel was invented, all that, labor got democratized, then industrial revolution happened, skill got democratized, then all the computers and internet came, knowledge got democratized, you could get access to knowledge. And now intelligence is getting democratized. Thankfully, yet I think emotions and consciousness and all that, I think we have not gone there. Where do you see AI going? How will it change the society? How scared or excited should we be about it?
I don't think we should either be scared or we should be excited. So because scare and excitement are very lower level virtues. So Kalidasa talks about Rama's quality. The verse in Raghuvansha starts as Dadato Mangala Kshaume. I will not go and bore you with the remaining part of the verse. The entire country was looking with great amount of surprise the face of Rama. Why? When Rama was told, take these cloths, silk cloths, wear them and come, you are going to become the king. His facial reaction. And take these wooden barks, wear them and come, you are going to get out of this country, you are banished, go to the forest. There was no change in the reaction. Why? He was acting, he was not reacting. I think with AI, we need to act, we should not react. Heroes are classified into 4 in Sanskrit literature. The bestest of the hero is called as Dhirodatta Nayaka. A Dhirodatta Nayaka acts, does not react. We should also act with AI. As our Honorable Prime Minister says, AI is all inclusive, just not artificial intelligence. So how do we make it? Then why all this fear that is coming out about lack of jobs and other things? Any development does not impact everybody equally. It impacts you based on the stage of life at which you are. AI may not impact India the same way, it is impacting a matured economy. Why? In a matured economy, there will be a lot of code writers already. They will be writing codes and they will be earning livelihood. Today, if AI comes and it starts writing code, they will lose their jobs. So, blah, blah, blah. A lot of areas like that it can happen. Whereas here, many of those things are absent. So, today you will be inventing new things with AI as a support. You are evolving and growing very differently. So, AI is not a threat to you. AI is a support. That is the way I look at it. We need Indian brains very sharp. We will find its own jugaad to make benefit out of every situation. All of us have seen it. And today we have a nice tool. In BSE, we have started using AI in a very small way for ourselves. Multiple pilot projects we have done. One pilot project in the area of SME listing. Believe me, from a waiting period of 6 months and 8 months per application, we have listed 100 SMEs in 179 days. Major achievement. How possible? AI helped. Is AI developed enough to take precision and accuracy? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Does it require human support and intervention at this stage? Yes. Part of life. But I don't think it will be a threat or a scare or an anxiety. It's a way of life. We should act with it.
That is quite brilliant. You know, one of the things you talked about is coders, and that is getting disrupted. But India also has a large number of coders. Like, I mean, India is a very large software, both exporter as well as outsourcing destination. Plus, India has a ton of call centers. Do you see that getting disrupted, and do you see that sort of other things taking over?
About other industries to talk, I am not sure whether I am that capable. But for stock exchanges, I don't think we are going to have any cutouty in the workforce that we have in respect of our own technology and technology development. Because whatever codes we are writing, they are not the typical source codes. They are peripheral and augmentation levels of codes, which cannot be just like that written by AI at this point of time. I think we have a long way to go there. And by the time there will be a lot of AI experts and new jobs that will be coming out because of AI. I think it will be more than offset if at all any job loss is there. I don't even see job loss if at all anything is.
Growing up, I used to have this thing where I take a check to one place in the bank, then they'll note down something, then you get a teller, you know, then you go there and then cashier will give you the cash. And then when ATMs came, people said, look, all of this infrastructure will go away, so many jobs will be lost. But then banks created way more jobs than they were earlier.
Well, I'll give you one more example. When I think it is 88, 89, that's when computers started coming into India. I used to work for IDBI at that time. Every floor had 2 wings there. Each wing will have only one desktop. And everybody looked at it as if it is their worst enemy born ever in the world. They thought all of them are going to lose their jobs. And those days, computer means people will know only COBOL and Fortran. Life has changed, but has jobs been lost? Instead, it evolved into a major new job area, new skill set development.
So you think there'll be many more jobs created than at all lost? One of the things that I've found actually, and I'm learning, you know, I'm not an optimist by nature, but starting to become one, is I've found that people who are really successful like yourselves are very optimistic about the future, and that's the next question where I wanted to go. When you look at successful people and of course yourself, what are the things that you are doing differently than people who are not successful, and what advice would you have for young professionals and people watching this conversation?
I'm not that big a man to give advice to anybody. I can tell you what I practice. I have found this as a very important change maker in life. When you always start thinking what is good and what is in it for me, you miss a very important point. When you start looking at what if I do this, how I will benefit others so that I can grow. Just a small change in focus. Instead of being totally self-centered, look at what is the impact you are going to create and concentrate on it. Invariably, you will grow faster than what you would have grown if you had been self-centered. When you are self-centered, we are very, very, very myopic. When you are looking at what is in it for others, you are very, very broad based. And see, this is a very famous example I give. We are all options. Why? We have an expiry day. On the expiry day, if I am having consciousness, because many people don't have consciousnness on their expiring, will I be thinking I should have made more money, I should have eaten in more places, I should have stayed in better 5-star hotels? Will I be thinking of this? Or the probability of me thinking, could I have been a better human being? Could I have been such a human being whereby there will be more tears to roll on my departure? Or will I be going unwept, unsung and unhonored? I think that probability is much more than the earlier probability. So why don't we start doing it today? Why don't we start thinking of how we can be beneficial to others? Honestly, if you do that, you grow more.
I don't know, that's a fantastic advice and such inspirational thing, that think about what you would think when you're dying. I think you used the word expiry because of, the connection with options, but I think that's very inspirational. And I wanted to end on this note, but I can't let you go without talking about Sanskrit and your love for Sanskrit. And I remember last time when we were there, you had like so many interesting tidbits about it. What's your favorite shloka all time, if you have one? And then, could you tell us the shloka and the meaning perhaps?
So I'll give you 2 slokas instead of one. Ajaramaravat pragyaha vidyam artancha sadayet. Grihita iva kesesho mrityuna dharmam acharet. We talked about options expiry, right? So, but what you should do is, you should think that you are immortal. It's not true? Yeah, but you should think when you are acquiring knowledge and wealth in the same order. Why? If you want to only acquire wealth, you will go to any means. If you acquire Jnana, and Jnana ke through Dhan, then you will not do unethical stuff. So, while getting knowledge and wealth in the same order, think you are ever youthful and immortal. But grihita iva kesheshu mrityuna dharma macharet. While walking on the path of dharma, what is dharma? Dharma is do's and don'ts. Don't think you are youthful and you are immortal. You think as if your cluster of hair is being held in the hands of the Lord of Death. So you can anytime depart. So you don't have next millisecond. Do it right now.
So every second dharma acharet. That is true.
That is one verse. Second is, you wanted to talk to youth, right? I want to tell this verse. Udhyoginam purusha simham upaiti lakshmi. Daivena deyamiti kapurushaha vadanti. Daivam nihatya kuru paurusham atma shaktya yatne krite yadina siddhyati. You find sometimes a lot of people are making a lot of money and they are prosperous. What typically you comment? Damn lucky man. You know what? He and me, we studied together in the same class. I used to get first rank and used to be in the 7th rank or 10th rank. See, it's all because of luck and all because of push and all because of connections. Do you know who says this? All cowards and idiots say this. Daivena deyam, luck will give. Who tells? Kapurushaha vadanti, cowards tell. What great people do? Purusha simha, a man lion. What does it? Man lion does not mean, no, I am making a gender bias.
Yes.
There is no gender bias. Udhyoginam purusha simham, an industrious man lion, what happens to him? Upaiti Lakshmi, he doesn't go towards Lakshmi, she comes. So what you should do? Daivam nihatya, kill that concept called luck. Kuru paurusham atma shaktya, not depending on others, with your own effort, be industrious. Yatne krite, when you do hard work, yadina siddhyati, if you don't get, kotra doshaha, so what? At least you tried. That is one meaning, there is another meaning. Yatne krite, when you did work, yadina siddhyati, if you are not getting the result, Kotra doshaha. Find out what is wrong. Do a root cause analysis and try to address it. You will succeed.
Now that's an awesome note to end on, and I think you've sort of connected in this conversation so many things, the old and the new, and ended with this thing of like, yes, you can believe in luck, but it will come if you are industrious, and then if it doesn't come, figure out what went wrong and then try again, and then you'll be lucky. Really appreciate the conversation. I always learn a lot through, every time I talk to you, and this was no different. Thank you so much for doing it, despite I know, how busy you are. We talked about this. Thank you, and I look forward to the next conversation.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.